Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Beware the Board, a horror podcast where you watch a randomly selected horror movie every single week. I'm Bob.
And I'm Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Bob.
Wow.
Welcome to today's episode.
Welcome.
You ready to watch a movie?
I don't know if I'm ready. I don't think I'm ever ready. Like, anytime Ben usually, first of all, I'm really bad about preparing myself for the podcast. There have been multiple times, and Ben will attest to this, where we've recorded the first 5 minutes of an episode, and Ben's gone, hold on, stop. We have to redo that.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
Because sometimes I'm just not in a good mood.
We'll have a 2 o'clock recording, and I'll pull up to the house, and I'll knock on the door, and no one will answer, and I'll call Bob, and no one will answer, and then I'll knock again, and 10 minutes later, Bob eventually comes to the door because he was still sleeping.
And then
we start 40 minutes later.
Yeah. So sometimes I'm not prepared. Most of the time I'm not prepared.
All
Today,
the time.
I think I'm ready.
Can't imagine why.
I don't know. Maybe it's because this is my second cup of coffee. And I've had plenty of time today to get ready. Is there anything you want to talk about before we begin?
Nope.
No? Okay. There's one thing I want to talk about before we start.
Oh, okay.
And this is old news, and it's something that I forgot about until I was listening to Tucker and Dale.
Okay.
The episode. We talk about that movie. What is it? Voyage of the Demeter? I think we talk about the episode. I think
Demeter?
Demeter's the right. You're right. Yeah, we talk about that movie. Did you ever see it?
No.
I didn't either.
I haven't seen it yet. I'll probably buy it at some point to watch
I
it.
haven't heard. Look, I'm pure speculation. This is me talking out of my ass, as most things are on this podcast. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen reviews for it. I don't know anything about it. I don't know how well it did. I don't know if it did poorly or what. Jesse watched it. I know. Look, I know you think Jesse has some controversial opinions. He said some things that you don't really appreciate. He said it was bad, and that makes me sad because I was kind of hype.
I don't know. From what I heard, it didn't do amazing, but it's one of those things that people will watch and we're like, oh yeah, this will be a thing for like horror fans, like a cult classic.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard.
Well, maybe we'll like it then.
So
I mean, most of the time, I feel like we're in that camp when it comes to movies like that.
Yeah, you never know with Jesse.
No, yeah, Jesse said some things, and Ben's been like, what kind of fucking opinion is that? Okay. I hope the audience did not hear that, because I cannot leave that in. He would be so angry. If he's listening to this, he knows what you just mimed at me. I hope. I hope he knows. I'm not going to leave it in the episode. That one is far worse.
All right. On that note, though, I did remember saying, because I was just talking to Bob about it, I was looking at like some articles that pop up, and I was like, oh, NECA's making something new. I clicked on it, and it was an ad for they're making a Coraline doll. So if you've ever seen Coraline, the other mother makes a doll of Coraline that's just like, I don't know, I'd say like a foot tall, something like that. Mm-hmm. And the ad...
A normal size height for a doll.
Yeah. And the ad said life-sized Coraline doll. So I was like, all right, so it's like a plush. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I clicked on it. And the first picture that comes up is a picture of this fucking doll. It's 5 feet tall.
That's huge.
It's like human size.
I think Ben said to me, I'm going to buy one of these and put it in the corner of my room. And I was like, that's terrifying.
Like $400. But just the thought of it standing in the corner of my room looking at people in the dark is very funny for me.
No, it's not. That's scary. Oh, my God. No, you asked me if I'd ever seen Coraline. I've seen that movie one time, and it scared me so bad I've never seen it again.
I love it. I just love stop motion.
Yeah.
So all the stop motion films are great, especially because we don't get a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because
well, it's because they're hard to make. They're also like really expensive too.
No, so they are hard to make. That's a big thing. But the reason we don't get a lot of them is because basically people know when they make them, they're going to take a loss.
Yeah.
So you have to do it for like the sake of art and not the sake of money. That's why they're always really, really good.
Yeah.
They do so bad because they're just so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I love them though. I grew up with a lot of those, because a lot of them are horror themed. Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, Paranorman.
I never saw that one.
It's decent.
Yeah.
I think that's my least favorite, but
okay,
it's definitely grown on me since I think the first time I watched it.
So while we're on the topic of what was it, NECA?
Yeah.
Do you want to? So Ben likes to complain that I don't click on things he sends me. And that's
Fuck
true.
you, Bob.
That's true. And the thing
He
is,
sends me like 40 different links a week, and I look at all of them.
yeah.
I sent him one, maybe a month. Never looks at it.
First of all, it's not that I didn't want to look at it.
Never looks
It's
at it
that I
ever.
didn't see that I didn't see it. I just didn't see it. I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
This happened multiple times.
This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
This has happened. We've had this exact same conversation.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, NECA made a very, very interesting Halloween 3 themed prop.
It's Tom Atkins, right?
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Drinks a Lot. But it's a minifig of him. I think it's like 9 inches. But it's signed and everything. You get a coaster for Silver Shamrock as well.
And look,
It's rad.
it's cool. And I'm not a fan of Halloween 3, but that's something that like I not that I want.
It'd be
I
really
might-
funny to have on
it
your
would
shelf,
be fun
though,
to
right?
have. Yeah. Also, this is the separate thing. Someone tweeted out. I follow a lot of like random ass horror accounts on Twitter now, just because I'm interested in it. And I don't know. I sent it to you. Someone tweeted out the exact time where I midnight on Halloween. If you start Halloween 3, you get to see Tom Atkins' ass.
Yeah, basically, if you start at 11, like 39 or something like that, and whatever seconds.
You get to see Tom Atkins' ass at exactly Halloween midnight.
Yeah, I would like to propose, though, that you could do that whenever you want.
It's true. You could just watch that movie.
Although I think the best way to do that is the whole thing is at a certain time, the commercial comes on.
Mm-hmm.
So you could totally time that movie with the
Oh.
ending
Yeah.
to be at the certain time.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'd do it. That'd be
No.
really cool.
That would be cool.
Especially because isn't it like a weird time, like 8 a.m. or something?
Yeah, it's weird.
Anyways, I guess let's just get into it, right? So you have 3 choices for categories still.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 spots in Slurposaurus, a spot in pre-code movies, and 2 spots in Neo Monster movies.
Yeah.
What are you picking?
Ben's upset with me because I've been very expressive about not wanting to pick Slurposaurus.
You're so funny, though.
Not because I dislike the movie we watched or the category,
You're so funny.
but because, and you heard this last week, I want to watch an actual horror movie.
We watched an actual horror movie last week.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
He murders like so many people.
Yeah, he kills a lot of people. And I expressed this to Ben before we started recording. We haven't seen someone get annihilated on the podcast in a while. And that's what I'm craving. Like, the thing with pre-code movies and Slurposaurus is they're just not violent enough to satiate my want.
We watched almost 200 people die.
Benjamin, I did not see a single one of those people get killed.
Yes, you did.
I watched a train explode.
A man got brained.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
That guy did die. That guy did get murdered. But I don't know. I want something violent. And I know I'm not going to get that if we watch Slurposaurus.
Maybe you will.
No,
Maybe someone gets eaten.
maybe. Or I could just finish off pre-code and we
Or
can
you
watch
could watch
another.
some real animals.
Ben, that's fucked up.
I didn't say it wasn't fucked up. Just saying you should choose Slurposaur.
Oh my god. I don't want to though. I don't want to. I'm not going to. I'm not going to pick it. I'm going to pick Neo Monster movies.
All right. Okay. Well,
You're such a piece of shit.
for Slurposaurs, we have
No!
option.
That's not what I said.
You have options 1 and 3 available.
3.
3?
Sure. Why not?
All right. Today we are going to be watching. And you meant Neo Monster movies, right?
Yeah.
And not Slurposaurs. Correct?
Yes, Benjamin. Yes.
Making sure. We're watching Mimic.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Now, my initial thought, and this is, is mimics from like, D&D, which is not good because that's kind of scary. Could you imagine walking up to like a chest and it like grows teeth and eats you?
All I'm going
In
to
real
say
life?
about this film, Bob, is I feel like you getting this film is karma for not picking Slurposaur.
Oh, God damn it. I did say I wanted to see some people get annihilated, and I wanted a scary movie.
Karma.
Fuck.
All right. So it came out in 1997.
Oh, it's a 90s movie. Okay.
Description. Who would have imagined that playing God could go wrong?
What is this, Jurassic Park?
It's an hour and 45 minutes long.
Okay. It's a little long.
It's rated R.
Awful. Thank God.
IMDb gave it a 6.0 out of 10.
Not bad.
Tomato meter of 64%.
Okay.
And an audience score of 37.
Oh, bad audience score, but that's pretty normal, to be
Has-
honest.
3 wins and 8 nominations.
Okay.
Notable actors. Mira Sorvino as Dr. Susan Tyler. She played Linda Ash in Mighty Aphrodite. I guess Mighty Aphrodite. Jeremy Northam as Dr. Peter Mann. He played Ivor Novello in Gosford Park. Alexander Goodwin as Chuy Gavoila. He played Bobby Fountain in Box of Moonlight. Giancarlo Giannini as Manny Gavoila. He played Rennie Mathis in Quantum of Solace. Charles S. Dutton as Officer Leonard Norton. He played Leonard Dillon in Alien 3.
Oh, damn.
Why, damn.
We haven't seen it.
Good.
Okay.
I hate that movie.
Whoa.
I hate it.
Oh,
With a
incredible.
passion.
We have to finish that series at some point.
It's bad.
I mean, sure.
Bad. And it makes me angry.
Oh, my God.
Do you want me to... You know what? I'm going to give you a little taste.
Okay.
A little taste of why you're not going to like it.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, the title is stylized. So technically, the name of that movie isn't Alien 3.
Oh, it's just Alien with a 3 where the E is?
It's Alien Cubed.
Oh, my God. No, that's stupid.
Josh Brolin as Josh Maslow. Do you know who Josh Brolin is?
I know that name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that is. I know the name.
Give you a hint. He's a big purple peanut.
Wait. Thanos?
It's Thanos, yeah.
Oh, my God.
He's a very famous actor. He's very good. Just want to say that.
Okay.
Thanos is a meme, but it's a well-acted meme.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Cromze as Remy Panos. She played Mary Labetta in The Haunting.
Oh.
1999.
Oh, the remake.
Yes. F. Murray Abraham as Dr. Gates. He played Mr. Mustafa in The Grand Budapest Hotel.
I've never seen it.
Love that movie. It's great. And probably, at least for me, I think one of his most famous roles, Antonio Salieri in Amadeus, which if you haven't seen Amadeus, so good.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what Amadeus is?
Mm-mm.
Do you know who Amadeus is?
Like Mozart?
Yeah. So it's basically a fictional biography of Antonio Salieri's life. And so he's a composer that was alive roughly the same time as Mozart. And in real life, they operated in very different circles.
Mm-hmm.
Just very different people. But in this fictionalized version, they very much have like a rivalry.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
But it's very much one-sided from Antonio's part.
I see.
And the whole movie's told in the future. So when Antonio's old, and it's him telling the story about Mozart.
That's kind of interesting.
And like how he died and everything.
Seems cool.
It's very good. Got some good music too, obviously.
I would hope so.
Norman Reedus as Jeremy.
He's back.
Who was he?
Oh, I don't remember his name, but he was in Pandorum.
Yeah, he was Shepard in Pandorum, but who is he, like, very famously?
Oh,
just in general.
What's his fuck from The Walking Dead?
Yeah, Daryl Dixon.
That was his name. I
What's
couldn't
his
remember.
fuck? He was on 174 episodes between 2010 and 2022.
God damn.
Julian Richings as Workman. Do you know who that is?
No. Thought the name was funny.
He's got a very particular look to him, almost deathly.
What does that mean?
No? Oh.
No.
He played the weird janitor in Urban Legends.
Oh, he's back.
He was also Death in Supernatural.
Oh, yeah. Now I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Doug Jones as Long John. Abe Sapien in Hellboy.
Never seen Hellboy.
Really?
No.
Oh. Really?
Just never seen it. I actually wanted to read the comics for a while. Never got around to it.
Go watch, not the new movie. This is Hellboy 2004. Go watch the original Hellboy, and then its sequel's pretty decent, but that original one's really good. The new one, though?
Not good?
Bad. It's very hairy for no reason.
Oh, I see.
Director, Guillermo del Toro.
Whoa! I didn't know he direct. Whoa, this is cool.
Yeah.
Is this our first Del Toro movie?
Yep.
Fuck yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Wait.
Exciting for me.
Oh,
We'll
God.
see if you enjoy it. He also directed Hellboy,
Oh,
2004.
that makes sense.
Writers Matthew Robbins, He also wrote Crimson Peak, and then it was also co-written by Del Toro. He's also written like The Shape of Water. Budget's estimated at $30 million.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to put this out here. Matthew Robbins also worked on the Del Toro Pinocchio film.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I haven't either, but I really want to watch it. Good stop motion.
Yeah.
Box office, though, was only $25.5 million.
Damn.
So not
no
great.
box office turnout. That sucks.
Country of origin, United States. Its alternative title, which was the working title, is Judas, Judus. Tagline: for thousands of years, man has been evolution's greatest creation until now.
Fuck me.
Now, I think that's debatable. I don't know if it means like the greatest creation of evolution.
We might be. Well, it might be crabs.
I don't know. There's crabs, right?
Because like, what is it? What is there's a word for it. But
Is it
basically,
cancerification? It's not that.
It's not that. It's something similar though.
Everything becomes crab.
Everything is turning into crabs because they're the ultimate life form.
Well, for like crustaceans in the ocean.
Yeah, we'll be crabs eventually.
Yeah, I don't know about crab people, but
That's terrifying.
all right. You ready for some bad news though?
Oh yeah, sure.
This is a Dimension/Miramax film.
Oh my god. Can they stop?
The Weinstein brothers got their fingers in this.
They got their fingers in everything.
Principal photography occurred in Toronto, Canada,
Okay.
because it kind of looks like New York, where this film is set.
Oh, okay.
It does, actually.
At least it wasn't Vancouver.
At least it wasn't Vancouver. Well, see, Vancouver was fine. It was setting it in the alley in the middle of nowhere.
No, in the 3 distinct alleys.
I think it was one really long alley. Anyone is wondering, that's Jason Takes Manhattan.
I hate
Bad
that
movie.
film.
So, you know how this film didn't do really well?
Yeah.
I mean, it lost money, but also, like, low scores.
Yeah.
Especially for a Del Toro piece.
That was my thing. Guillermo del Toro's like renowned as a director. Like he has done some incredible stuff.
He's very good. I really like his directing style. But like a 37% audience score and
That's
a 64 critic is really
low for him.
There's kind of a reason for that.
Okay.
So, after seeing early footage of the film, Harvey Weinstein
Oh my god.
began fighting with Del Toro regarding the film not being scary enough. So, if you remember, very similar story here to what happened on Scary Movie,
Yeah.
which would eventually become known as Scream, where he saw early cuts and he was like, rah! But yeah, he started arguing with Del Toro about it not being scary enough. And it's even reported that at one point, Weinstein stormed onto set and started instructing Del Toro about how to direct a movie.
Bruh. That's so stupid.
Right, because you know he doesn't know what he's doing.
No, he doesn't know what he's doing.
But it eventually came to a head when Weinstein attempted to have Del Toro fired. And he only ended up backing down because Mira Sorvino, the lead actress, was basically like, no, if you fire him, I'm going to quit. Like,
Gotcha.
she kind of got into the way of that. So Weinstein ended up backing down, but he still demanded final cut of the film, which is
god.
not great because now the director doesn't have control of the final cut. The producer does. And so, you know, that's probably why it turned out pretty bad.
Damn. That sucks.
I do want to give these 2 quotes here because I think they go to show how bad the situation, though, was on set. Since the film's release, producer B.J. Rack has compared the experience to, and I'm quoting here, being a prisoner of a war camp.
Oh my god.
And Del Toro has also since stated that the only time I have experienced bad behavior, and it remains one of the worst experiences of my life, was in 1997 when I did Mimic for Miramax. It was a horrible, horrible, horrible experience.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So.
Holy shit.
Just, it sucks to hear that.
No,
honestly.
it does.
Sucks. But, kind of a silver lining. In 2011, Del Toro was able to release a director's cut.
Oh.
He's described it by saying that it's not exactly the movie I wanted to do, but it definitely healed a lot of the wounds. I am happy with the cut.
Is that the version we're going to watch?
Apparently, it's available on a lot of streaming, so I'll see if I can find it today.
Let's go!
We'll tell you afterwards if we can find it or
That's
not.
awesome.
I just go ahead and recommend watching that one if you can find it.
It's probably better.
Because, to be honest, the theatrical cut is not rated really well, and it's also not what the director wanted.
Yeah.
So if you can get close, I know he doesn't probably have all the footage and all that stuff, but
yeah,
if if you can get close with the director's cut, I'd recommend it because Del Toro does a really good job with his films.
That's my other thing is like you hired this really, really like well-known, renowned director.
No, this was pretty early in his career.
Sure. I mean, I guess, but I don't know. Just in my mind, it's like I get that you're a producer, like you're supposed to like overlook things and produce. But when you're going like just storming a set and telling a director how to direct, like that's not your job. Get out of there.
Well, the worst part is he took final cut of the movie. Sometimes you can get away with that, but the issue here, and I'll just tell you this right now about Del Toro, is he's a very meticulous director.
Mhm.
The reason he's able to make really good films is he's very particular about his directing style and how he frames shots and everything. It's almost mathematical, and that's really cool. It makes really good films. But to make that work, he has to have a lot of
Control.
creative control. And when you take the ability to control away from him, you have a bunch of stuff that might not work well together.
That sucks.
I think that's what ended up happening here.
God, that makes me so angry.
Before we move on, though, I do think it's important to mention, though, that this film is technically based on a short story
Oh, sick.
of the same name by American science fiction writer Donald A. Wollheim. So if you're ever interested.
Cool.
That's all I got for now. I got some
Okay.
stuff after the movie, but we can get into it.
Okay. Fuck. I guess we'll see you guys in a minute. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We just finished watching Mimic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you have a good time, Bob?
Um.
Or did it maybe make your skin crawl a lot?
Yeah. No. That was a problem.
Yeah.
Hey, look.
Punishment.
It's not. It wasn't that bad. It was pretty bad. I will say. I'm glad I picked what I did.
It's a good movie, though.
I had a good time, but it is, spoiler audience. It's a Neo monster movie, so there are monsters
Yeah, money movie.
in this film. They got me good.
Yeah. By the way, I'm gonna say this now. We watched the director's cut.
Yeah, because we actually found it.
I don't know off my head like what the difference between the director's cut and the original was.
I think it was like a 7-minute difference, right?
Yeah, which is big.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big difference when
Yeah.
you come down to it, because it's not like probably 7 minutes of just like long scenes. It's probably 7 minutes scattered throughout.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we were talking about during the movie, and we were like, oh yeah, much better than the ratings indicate.
Yes, but we don't know if that's because we watched the director's
It
cut,
has to be.
right?
Yeah.
Because like
'Cause
34%.
We're usually around the critics.
Yeah,
And the critics were what?
60.
Or we're usually around the critics or the IMDb, like the
Yeah.
aggregate. And
Mhm.
I think we're higher than at least a 2.5
Oh yeah.
or a 3. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to put that out there right now. So if you're going to watch it, I don't know the differences between the two versions, but I just say go watch the director's cut.
Because that's the one we saw and we liked it.
We liked it, and I've just heard bad things about the theatrical.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have seen I've seen this film before
Mm-hmm.
a long time ago, and I assume I watched the theatricals cut originally
Yeah.
because I don't remember liking it all that much.
Really?
Yeah,
I can't believe that 7 minutes made that much of a difference.
Might be
Maybe it
little
comes down to
things.
like pacing too.
It's probably pacing stuff.
And like maybe there's like scenes missing that make things make more sense.
My guess is pacing and some minor characterization.
Mm-hmm.
It also might be how scenes are edited, like order wise.
That was my thing too. Maybe stuff showed in a different order
I
in
don't
the normal
know.
cut.
With that being said, I guess I can describe the plot, and
Mhm.
then we can get into the movie.
Yeah.
We probably gonna have to have a spoiler section for this film. I think so.
I don't know if we should. Like, not that we shouldn't, but like in my mind, right? We could totally cover this whole film and not ruin a single thing.
Okay. There's just one really big thing we kind of have to be careful of.
I don't know what you're talking about personally.
All right. Well, with that being said, we'll get to it when we get to it, and we can decide then. But the premise of this film is relatively simple. It's in New York, and there's this big outbreak of. Do you remember what it's called?
Stricklers.
Is it Stricklers?
Yeah, it's like called Strickler's disease.
Basically, it's like polio. It looks like,
Mm-hmm.
but instead of being contagious, it seems to be spread by carrier animal.
Mm-hmm.
Very specifically, in this instance, it's cockroaches.
Yeah.
Looks like the common cockroach. The epidemic starts in New York City, and it's apparently horrible.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's only been going, it looks like, for a couple months, but it's already killing, like, tons and tons and tons of children. Because adults seem to be unaffected. You know, eventually the CDC is at their wit's end because they're not able to successfully make a vaccine in the time they've had. And they're freaking out because they don't want it to leave the city. And they eventually come up with this kind of ludicrous plan, which is to create a countermeasure for cockroaches, but it's a biological countermeasure instead of a chemical one. So instead of using poison, they've genetically engineered like a super insect that very specifically secretes a, I don't know, goo.
They call it a pheromone.
Yeah, I know. It's a pheromone, obviously. It's very specifically, there's enzymes in this goo, but I'm calling it a goo because it's like a bubbly, like sticky substance.
Yeah.
We get to see it. That attracts the cockroaches, and when they eat it, their metabolism speeds up a lot, and then they starve to death and die. And it's highly effective. They ended up clearing the infection of cockroaches out of the city. And that's kind of the setup for the movie, because once they do this whole announcement of, oh, we cleared out all the stuff, it skips to 3 years later. And that's where our movie takes place. And the premise here is that very quickly we learn that these insects, they're known as Judas strain, but like Judas bugs, that's what I'm going to call them, have been reproducing. They weren't supposed to do that. So there's this mystery of why are these things breeding and where are they? Coupled with this other thing of, oh, there's something weird going on in the subway system. Is it related to like the Judas bugs? Is it related to something else? We don't know. That's kind of the movie story. I think that's a good way to leave it. And if that sounds interesting, go watch it. I'd recommend it. If you like Del Toro, this isn't like his strongest film ever, but it's very, very indicative of his style.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever watched him before, Del Toro's in the past, this is like word for word, he's described his style as almost having a fetish for insects, clockwork, monsters, dark places, and unborn things. And this movie's got all of it.
I was about to say, that man, he really described this movie, huh?
Well, that was him. He was describing his style.
I know, but he just described this movie.
That really does describe this movie. So if you like him, this very much feels like him. It feels a lot like some of his earlier works. In a lot of ways, it feels like Hellboy in some senses.
Never seen it.
Not as fantastical, but in, I don't know, cinematography and like feel of the environment, stuff like that. With that being said, though, we're going to kind of get into the actual discussion points now and, you know, just talk about the film in general. So I'm going to give a warning here for spoilers just going forward. So is there anything you want to talk about just right off the bat?
So you talking about like this being Del Toro style reminded me of something. You know what this movie reminds me of in a ton of ways?
What?
It's like Arachnophobia.
But better?
I don't know about... Okay, better is not the word I would use.
It's not a thrillamedy.
It's not a better is not the word I'm looking for because I don't... Better is shaky ground because this is just a different kind of movie than that. But they're very similar in idea of scary bug. In tackling it in the same way of like people are aware of a bug-related threat and they're trying to solve it.
Yeah. To be honest, I get where you're going there, and I hadn't really put that together in my mind. We did reference Arachnophobia while watching the movie. I think what you're getting at is that this film and Arachnophobia have very similar like story arcs and beats. The only difference is like the vibe. Yeah. This one's more a lot like gothic and dark.
This
horror.
one's like I don't want to say grim dark.
I
but it's a super gritty, like gross movie.
Gritty, grimy, and slimy.
Yeah.
Versus kind of the camp of
Arachnophobia.
But yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, basically very similar story.
Yeah, but this one has like Del Toro monsters.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sick.
Yeah, very, very similar. We even have your standard pulsating sack.
Oh yeah, your average pulsating egg sack. So there are a lot of them.
That's really interesting. To be honest, though, a lot of the appeal of this movie isn't like the plot or anything. It's the vibe, I would say.
Yeah, it's the atmosphere.
The plot and everything, like we said, is it's okay. It's kind of
It's fine.
generic. 'Cause
Yeah,
again,
it's generic,
it
but
felt a lot like Arachnophobia, but it's just Del Toro's vibe that I think
Mhm.
really sells it. Because otherwise, not a lot happens. And I think for me, the biggest appeal for this movie is some of the practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
They just look really good.
Yeah, man.
There is some CGI used throughout the film, and it doesn't look that great, I will
No.
say. It's very late 90s, you know? But it's
passable.
passable by modern standards, and for the 90s, it looks pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I can say all that much. And they do a good job of like using practical effects when they can, and those really sell it.
I think that's my big point is, yeah, the CGI is not incredible by modern standards, but they mix in enough practical effects with the monsters and like the violence and stuff and like the creatures that it works. It all pans out. It looks good. I enjoy it. That's probably my favorite part of this movie is the monsters, which is a good thing because like we're watching a category called Neo Monster movies, so the monster should be the highlight of the film.
Yeah. So I think all those look good. Aside from that, though, there really isn't too much there. And I feel like that might be the downside of this movie,
Yeah.
is there's just so...
It's a very surface level monster film,
Yeah.
which is not a bad thing if that's what you're looking for. And hell, I love a good monster film, but it's not nuanced in any way.
No. And then I think the only other thing there that we really need to talk about right now is the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters don't have too much going on for them,
No.
I gotta say. None of them are, like, amazingly interesting. But I think that's more because they feel like they're lacking screen time in a lot of ways and just aren't developed as much as I would like.
And I'm going to be honest, I think that's because there are so many of them and they're spread out across the movie. Like, I feel like we don't spend enough time with them individually to get enough, but it's because we have to spread out over across so many people.
Yeah. And so I do think that is a downside of this film as well. However, I will raise the point that the back end of this film is spent mostly in like one location, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters we get to see in the back end of the film, I feel like get a lot of characterization
They get a lot better near the end.
during
yeah.
those scenes, and they feel a lot better because of
Mhm.
that. So I do think for certain characters that is fixed. It just, there's so much setup, I think, that goes into this movie because the beginning of it's so much investigation
Mm-hmm.
that it just feels like we lose out on characterization.
Yeah, and they spend a lot of time like using science to like explain everything that's going on or like to lead you into different plot points and stuff.
Yeah.
And explain stuff that you're going to get to see later, which is like cool because like I appreciate that because it feels like they actually maybe did a little bit of research when they were writing this film.
Oh yeah, all the monster stuff and the Judas stuff feels really worked out well.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. But yeah, it does make the characterization, I think, suffer a little bit.
Because they just have to kind of info dump instead
Yeah.
of giving character moments.
Going back to, I just want to harken back to Arachnophobia again because I think they're very close. I do think Arachnophobia does a little bit better of a job with characterization right
Yeah.
off the bat because it just spends more time with the characters at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I feel like this film didn't.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think this film needed it as much as that
No,
one.
because the monsters in this are more.
Well, it's not even that. I think it's just this film is more focused on the monsters.
Well, that's what I mean. Like the monsters in this are more the focal point, but also they're more like impressive and like shock and awe.
Yeah.
While in Arachnophobia, they're just spiders.
Big spiders.
Big spiders. Like,
Well-
trust me, terrifying.
Some of them are big spiders.
Like I'm
rest are
afraid of
kinda small.
Arachnophobia. That movie is scary, but this movie is just much more monster forward.
Yeah. Aside from that, I think the only thing I want to talk about is the monster here. And my issue is I kind of want to put that in the spoiler section, so I think we should do it. I think we've done a good job of avoiding any like explicit.
Okay, can we
Explicit
talk about
stuff.
one more thing before we go to that then? 'Cause
Yeah,
normally
sure.
we do that and then the end of the episode.
No, that's fine. I don't want to give away too much about the monster here if you're still gonna go watch the movie
Yeah.
because it is kind of spoilers there. But yeah, what did you want to bring up?
So we kind of mentioned this at the beginning. A lot of this movie is them investigating the subway and stuff. The subway is such a cool place for this movie to take place.
Oh yeah, because
Like they do an awesome job using the dark, dank, gross environment of the subway to create horror while moving throughout it and giving us a bunch of different areas to explore.
Yeah, and what's really cool is it's not like the modern subway system. It's the old abandoned like subway tunnels and
Mhm.
maintenance tunnels and stuff. It's very much like a labyrinth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and such a coincidence that Del Toro would go on to write something called Pan's Labyrinth eventually, you know. Again, it very much feels like Del Toro, but I do love that setting.
No, it's super good. And
especially because they give some excuses to have, like, more ornate underground areas.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks really good. But yeah, I guess you ready to just move on to the spoiler section?
I guess.
All right.
Hello, everybody. This is Future Bob coming at you to let you know that if you do not want any major spoilers about this movie, please skip to 46 minutes and 1 second. Once again, that's 46 minutes and 1 second for no major spoilers.
Welcome back if you're still with us. I just wanted to put in this brief spoiler section because I really want to talk about the monsters in this film. I think if you've been listening, you might have already figured it out. But the monsters in this film are the Judas strain. They're the bug in this movie. And very specifically how they went from, like, this bug that kills cockroaches to this monster is very interesting, and I just thought we should mention it here. Because it is kind of like the climax of the film, the understanding for what happened.
I mean, sure.
But the explanation for what happened here is that the Judas strain had some enzyme that sped up metabolism.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, when they started breeding, it allowed them to breed really, really fast. So in the span of 3 years, instead of having, like, maybe a handful of generations, they had thousands.
Yeah.
Which I got to say, I don't think is very realistic, you know?
I mean,
For how big they are, you know what I mean?
well, the thing is, they also explained that, which is something that I knew was true, but I hadn't really considered it.
No, I know, but the whole thing is big things tend to grow slower, and so they age slower and they reproduce slower. I guess my point is, like, I don't know. The fact that they evolved, quote unquote, that quickly into what they are, the monster version.
I mean, they're using, like, weird sci-fi science anyway.
Sci-fi science, and it's ludicrous. But I did think it was cool that they explained it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, I think I want to describe the big monster bug now. Basically, it's very specifically, the Judas strain is a combination between termites and praying mantises. And to me, it just kind of looks like a big cockroach.
That's exactly what I thought,
with,
too.
like, razor claws.
Oh, my God.
But what's so cool about the monstrous version of the Judas bug is that it's about, I don't know, 6 feet tall.
They're fucking huge.
They're tall. They can stand on 2 legs, and they're mimics. That's why the film's called Mimic.
Mm-hmm.
Bob didn't get it for a long time, and I was like, Bob, do you know why it's called Mimic?
Yeah.
And I don't think it clicked, per se.
It didn't click until they explained it.
Until they explained it, which I think is funny. But what the bugs do is they, again, quote-unquote, evolved to mimic humans so that they could better survive us as, like, a predator.
Mm-hmm.
The bugs do eat us, but, like,
Yes.
survive just being, like, overwhelmed. And so what they do is they'll stand on 2 legs, and they'll drape their wings around themselves.
So it looked like a coat.
Yeah, it looks like a really long, like, trench coat or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have their 2 pedipalps, like their 2, technically it's highly developed, like, his front limbs. And when they put them together, instead of being, like, crushing plates that, like, guard their mouth,
It looks like a mask.
it looks like a mask. So when they're standing up and they got their wings around them, they kind of just look like a dude.
Mm-hmm. From a distance, they totally just look like a dude in a trench coat.
And so a lot of the film, before they're revealed as, like, bugs per se, is them kind of just walking around as, like, these human-like figures.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really effective.
No, it is.
Because there's a couple hints, even from the beginning, that there's something weird about them.
Yep.
But I'd seen this film before, and I don't remember what my initial thought was. But I think the film does a decent enough job of selling it as maybe they're, like, half insect men.
That's exactly what I thought when the film started. I was like, oh, these are half bug people.
And so I think for a lot of the film, you can maybe think that, you know, these Judas things were developed to kill cockroaches that were fighting this human disease. So maybe they're infecting people with another disease.
That's exactly what I thought.
Okay. I was wondering if you were sold on that idea.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I think that's good then, that it works that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd seen the film before, and I vaguely remembered it, and I knew going into it, and for me, it was like, oh, this is super obvious that it's just these big bugs mimicking it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it can work both ways there. With that being said, I think the bugs are super cool.
Oh, they're so cool. They're terrifying. This might be one of the episodes with the most outtakes of me screaming in a while.
Bob was just like, no, 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 no. He closed his eyes at one point. I was surprised. And at one point, he almost vomited just looking at its face.
Oh, God.
So they got some gnarly faces because they do great practical effects on close-ups of the bugs.
Yeah.
They look nasty and they look intricate and complicated, and it's really, really good.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. It looks like, I saw this very recently. There was a picture on Twitter of a close-up of an ant, on a microscope. They did a really good job of making these things look like real bugs.
No, yeah, they look a lot like real bugs. And again, I think that's that intricate attention to detail, especially with the practical effects. Hell, their faces look really, really a lot like praying mantis faces.
Mm-hmm. They even have the praying mantis arms.
Yep.
They're gross.
And, getting back into the fact that this film pays attention to the science, part of the reason they explain how they're so big is instead of having bookcase lungs, what most insects have, they have regular people lungs.
Yep.
Or at the very least, more
Developed,
lungs. And so they're able to intake more oxygen.
which is why they can get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Because
that's a classic thing with real life insects.
exactly.
What we've essentially proven with modern science is we're like, oh, the difference between giant bugs from the coniferous period and modern day bugs, just the amount of oxygen.
Yep.
So basically, the whole explanation for the big bug is just
They can intake more oxygen so they can get bigger.
they develop better lungs. Assumedly, it's a very, very recent trait.
Yeah.
That's what I'd assume is they probably went through their thousands of generations when they were small, eating bajillion cockroaches a minute.
Oh, God.
And they've only gotten big in the last 2 or 3 generations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're really cool. I think the only problem with this whole through line of these Judas breed insects is that it's never explained why they can breed. They were genetically engineered to not be able to do so.
Yeah.
And the film never really gives a good enough reason for why they're able to. And I do think that's an issue.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of vaguely explain it, but they don't explain it at the same time.
One of the characters who's not necessarily super well introduced just kind of goes, they died in the lab, but real life is an even bigger lab.
Yeah, meaning that introducing them to the outside world somehow had an effect on them.
It's more variables, but it feels like a cop out,
I mean, it is.
I wanted more of an explanation because it doesn't make sense. I feel like it's just too much of a reach for me. I can put it aside and be like, whatever, but
see,
I want to know.
I guess my thing is I don't think it's that big of a reach because it's weird sci-fi science anyway. Who cares?
It's not that big of a reach, but it's again one of those things of if you're going to go, hey, we designed this thing to behave a very certain way, and then it doesn't, I want to know the why. We'll bring in another series here because we were talking about arachnophobia earlier. There's a very similar premise in Jurassic Park where they engineer all the dinos to be female and to be unable to breed, and then they start breeding, and the big reveal is they're able to do so because they introduced frog DNA, and some species of frog can switch gender, and they set that up and they do reveal it eventually, and that feels earned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This didn't feel earned in the same way, and I just kind of feel like I'm missing that same sense of, oh my God, this is why this happened,
I mean, fair enough, I guess.
Otherwise, I think they're fine. I think the only thing I also want to mention with the bugs, just because I think it's a weird point in this movie, is there's a kid in this film.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple of kids in this film, but there's one main one, Chewie, and he has these spoons.
Yeah.
Right? And he collects them together to imitate sounds because they never explicitly state in the film, but I'm pretty sure he's autistic,
Oh, yeah.
but probably severely autistic, pretty far on the spectrum. And he has an impulse to imitate sounds with the spoons. Very specifically, it seems to be people walking, the sound of their gait, because his dad's a shoe shine, so he's a fixation on shoes.
Yeah, Chewie knows so much about shoes. People walk by on the street and Chewie would be like, oh yeah, these are the kinds of shoes. That's their shoe size.
It's very impressive.
Oh, super impressive.
But he saw one of the Judas breed, the giant ones, and they click. They make a clicking sound when they communicate.
Because they're bugs.
And he started imitating it with the spoons. And kind of early-ish on in the film, he gets taken by the bugs because he walks essentially into their home, and they don't eat him right away.
No, and especially later in the film, he calls them friends.
And the film seems to be implying that it's potentially due to the fact that he's like clicking at him in the same way. I don't think I like that.
Really?
I don't know. It feels like a little too campy in some ways. If that's what they're going for.
I mean, I think it has to be.
If that's only what they were going for. My read on it personally is he's clicking at him, so it's kind of confusing the bugs, and they're like, "Are you one of us? Because you smell like food."
Yeah.
And so they just brought him back to the hive to maybe eat him later if they're hungry.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? I think that's a better read than, he can clack his spoons and now he's the bug master. You know what I mean? That seems a little goofy. But I just wanted to mention that really quick. With that being said, that's all I really want to say in the spoiler section. I just wanted to talk about the bugs.
Yeah, I mean, that's like I think that's the big selling point.
They're really cool. It really is the big selling point. It's the big thing that happens here. So I think we can go back to the regular stuff.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, welcome back. I think we can just start on recommendations if you want to take charge there.
Okay. What's my first recommendation? If you like monster movies, this is a cool monster movie. This once again, Ben, you did a good job of picking what I kind of wanted from the category. A unique monster movie with cool monsters. That was my big thing I wanted from all the films in this category, and you've done a good job at keeping that on the level so far.
I had to work so hard for it.
Well, it was worth it, because I like this film. If you like Guillermo del Toro...
Wait, what did you say?
Guillermo del Toro.
Okay, I thought you said Yamamoto del Toro.
Not Yamamoto. But if you like him, I've actually never seen one of his movies before.
I didn't think you had.
No, this is my first one. I like it. I like his style.
Unsettling style.
Yes, that is my big thing. If you're into him and you like his style, from what I can tell and what Ben has told me, this reeks of the stuff he likes to do.
He always feels like a dark, like, gothic fairy tale kind of thing going on.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of how this feels. So, if you're interested in that, check it out. Never mind.
Yeah. Something in the spoiler section.
Yeah.
This is going to be his recommendation there.
It was.
For me, I think the main recommendation here is if you like Del Toro. I think this is one of his lesser known films because it didn't do as well in the box office and everything. So if you like him and you haven't seen it, I think it's worth a watch. It's not like the greatest film ever, but it's pretty competent, I think. If you like practical effects, I think the practical effects in this are pretty decent. The CGI is a little rough, but if you can watch something like The Mummy and be fine, I think you'll get over this. 1999, like Brendan Fraser's The Mummy.
Yeah, the good one.
Oh no, the original one's good too.
Well, yeah. The only one I've seen.
The Brendan Fraser one, you mean?
Yeah.
But then I think my last recommendation, if you just want like kind of a unique monster movie, that's what this is. I mean, it's obviously in this category, but who fucking knows what that category means? On that note, though, Bob, if you want to give it a rating.
Okay. So, this is what I wanted from the category. It's kind of what I wanted from this movie coming in. I didn't really know what to expect with a movie called Mimic, and from what I could tell when we started, what I'm saying is I didn't really have any standards coming in other than neo-monster movies, so I want a cool monster, which it delivered on. Had a cool monster. I like them. I like Del Toro's style. The problem I have with this film, the characters are... Not that the characters are bad. They're not bad.
No, they're competent.
They're competent. They're just not super interesting. They're very generic, which is...
Like, I didn't feel one way or another when people died.
Exactly. Not like it's not a bad thing, but it's not like a good thing either. There's no nuance to all these different people that are, dealing with this problem. But it's minimal. Yeah. It's the amount you need to make them feel like people and not just be like
bodies
that you're throwing at, monsters to die. CGI's a little rough, but I can get over it because the practical stuff.
CGI is just a time period, I think.
Yeah, and I can't really fault it that much.
Very impressive for the low light conditions this movie has.
Yeah. Cool setting. Cool monster. I don't know. I'm kind of in a weird spot. I will say I don't love the end of the movie.
No. Well, you loved how it was done. Like,
yes.
Cinematically.
Cinematically, it's sick.
But writing-wise.
Writing-wise, I don't love it.
Yeah.
4.
I
like the movie. There are some things I could change. But overall, I had a pretty good time.
Okay. I think I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Fair enough.
Because I think I was between a 4 and a 3.5, but I'm going to be a little conservative here because I think, like Bob said, the characters, I think, are the really big issue for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the fact that wasn't in love with really any of these characters.
Yeah.
So many of them were like, I could take it or
You
leave
know who
it.
I loved? Those kids from the beginning.
I love those kids from the beginning. Those were fun. They had gumption.
If they were the whole movie, honestly, they're kind of awesome.
Now, as long as it wasn't Goonies. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think the characters were the really big issue. And because I didn't like necessarily love them or hate them, well, I could stand watching them and that was totally fine. They didn't really carry me emotionally and get me invested. And I think that's an issue. Again, they're not bad. And in fact, especially towards the end of the film, the characters we had been with for a while were starting to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do think the film needs like an extra, maybe just 5 or 10 minutes of just characterization before like the actual plot starts.
Yeah.
Because I can tell they tried, especially with the 2 like lead characters. I just didn't get enough of it to get me there. So I think that's a really big problem. And then kind of like the other one is it just feels, I don't know, like abrupt with the ending. You know?
A little bit.
Like it was like, all right, this is the time for the ending, but it just felt so, oh, and it's over now?
Yeah. It felt like we kind of hit the end and we were supposed to get this like climactic thing.
And it didn't feel climactic.
And then it kind of deflated and the movie ended.
I'm not sure if that's due to how the problem was solved, or maybe I think it might just be due to the character thing again.
Yeah. Because it wasn't satisfying.
Because it wasn't satisfying.
Because we don't really like care that much about these people and the fact that they solved the problem.
Yeah. With that being said, all the style and cinematography is amazing.
Oh, it's fucking crazy.
And the monsters are just beautiful in the grossest way possible.
Oh, yes. You'll hear
And
some...
You know, I think that really does have to give me the half point to a 3.5. I really do want to give it a 4, but I think I'm going to bear on the side of like caution.
No, I mean, that's fair.
3.5, especially because you gave it a 4. Kind of evens it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. I guess we're going to go to the outtakes now. We'll see what we have there. Hopefully some good ones.
God. Yeah, we'll see you guys in a minute. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the outtake section for this episode of Beware the Board. I hope you're enjoying our review of Minute so far. I like this movie. I think it's super fun. I really love Guillermo del Toro's style. But without further ado, let's get into the outtakes. This first clip is me being uncomfortable at dying children, but also a really stupid Jason Takes Manhattan joke. I don't like this. Nah, seeing kids like this is fucking me up, man. I'm not a fan.
Well, they are dying, so.
Now, clearly! Where are we going, though?
I think this is where they keep the toxic waste.
Oh, for flooding the sewers every night?
Yeah, this is the sewer.
Yeah, okay. I hate how much we talk about that movie.
We don't talk about it that much. You just brought it up last episode. Or was that this episode?
I think that was this episode, because you brought up New York. This next clip is Ben making a dumb joke, but also my reaction to some nasty, nasty bugs. Roaches.
More like no chiz.
Okay. Oh! I didn't like that.
Big bug.
I did not like that, Benjamin. This next clip is our reaction to something dragging someone into the sewers. Oh! This guy's getting like Pennywised.
Yeah, they're breaking his ribs to get him through.
This next clip is an example of my escalating fear of the creature in this film. That thing, every time we see it, it gets worse. Every time we see it, it gets worse. This next clip is another example of me shitting my pants. Ugh.
It's that dude.
Funny shoe man.
Funny shoe man is
Oh God.
about ready to chomp. Dude, Bob, what was that noise?
I don't like it. This next clip is our reaction to seeing the creature actually attack someone for the very first time.
He's less overt horror and more like creepy aesthetic and horrifying imagery kind of thing.
which is awful for me. That's what
Yeah.
I'm getting at. It's don't go touch it. Don't give him a hand. You kids are gonna get fucking murdered.
They want to make $5. Bob, it's a pulsating sack. It's come back.
Don't touch me.
Full circle.
Well, that doesn't look like your average pulsating egg sack, Benjamin.
Well, no, if you turn it sideways. Yeah.
Can that be the name of the episode? Your average pulsating egg sack part 2?
If we have space.
It might fit.
Oh, no, don't cut it open.
Don't open it! At least it's not worth $40. Your life is not worth $40.
She really does, like, skimp out on these kids, though.
They're kids. $40 is a lot of money,
I know, but I think it's very funny.
especially in 1997.
I keep forgetting it's 1997.
This feels like an.
It's funny shoes.
Yeah, I do too, kid. That's not. Oh,
That's a dead dog.
oh, he's eating a dog. Fucking barbed wire.
No, it's just regular wire.
This next clip is me making the realization that there could possibly be more than one monster. Is there more than one? That's not good. Ben, why is there more than one of these? There's 2. This next clip is me finding out that it is far worse than I possibly could have imagined. No, I can't deal with this. I was freaking out when there were like 1 or 2 of these things, but a civilization of bug people down there.
It's not a civilization, it's a colony. Which just means, I don't know, hundreds, thousands,
Shut up.
that kind of things. Hundreds and thousands, sprinkles.
Spickles suck. This next clip is me appreciating the cop's honest reaction to the monster. I love that he's having just an honest reaction to these fucking things.
It's pretty great.
No, it's pretty fantastic.
Like that.
Fuck this, man. This next clip is the bugs almost making me throw up. Well, as long as he doesn't touch them together, he should be fine. Oh my god, that scared the fuck out of me.
Nah, it's just
No.
a dude.
No. Oh my god.
Don't close your eyes, Bob. Look at it.
Oh. Oh my. I really don't want to throw up. Mostly because I don't have anything to throw up in here. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the outtakes. Do we have any announcements? Ben.
Yeah. We got 2 things. I mean, obviously, there's our usual. Check us out on Fridays. That's when we release board episodes.
Yeah, of course.
But we also have a Thanksgiving episode coming up.
Yeah.
What are we watching? I don't know. Maybe it's Thanksgiving 2.
No, bro. If we watch... No, we can't watch Thanksgiving 2. We can't. We haven't seen Thanksgiving.
I'm pretty sure I've seen Thanksgiving, and I'm pretty sure you've seen Thanksgiving.
I want to watch it.
So maybe we could review.
No, Ben, we have to
Thanksgiving
watch
too.
Thanksgiving because I think that might be our shortest episode ever.
What, Thanksgiving?
Yes. Shorter than Blood Rage. That might be the new meme. Every year we put out a shorter and shorter Thanksgiving episode until there just isn't one. We can't get any shorter.
Thanksgiving 2.
No, that one sucks.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
On that note, though, check us out wherever you get podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcast, other podcast places. We're also on YouTube if you want to watch us there. It's kind of nice because you can show us some support, with your subscriptions, your likes. There's also a handy bell button you can slap the shit out of, and that'll give you notifications whenever we post a new video, like if we do something random, like a Thanksgiving episode, like maybe Thanksgiving 2.
No.
Aside from that, YouTube's one of the two places you can communicate with us at. You can do that in the comment section of a specific video. Maybe chat us up about something specific in that movie you liked, didn't like, want to talk about. Or you can go over to Twitter, crawl through the dank underbelly of subway tunnels that is Bob's DMs over at Beware the Board, and chat him up about your favorite horror movie or insect.
Gross, Ben.
Oh, send him pictures of spiders.
Don't do that. No, don't listen to it. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Tweet him pictures of spiders.
Don't do
Other
that.
horrifying insects you think Bob might not like.
All of them. Oh, I hate bugs. Like Ben said, check us out on Twitter at Beware the Board. It's where I post updates about the show, information about the show. Basically, if there's anything you don't know about the show, it all goes on our Twitter. On Mondays, I post a spoiler post for that Friday's episode, which is basically a hidden movie cover that you can reveal. So you can watch the movie before we do. So whenever you listen to the episode and we're being really vague about stuff, you kind of know what we're talking about. Then on Fridays, I post a link to the episode whenever it goes live. So if you ever miss an upload or want to know when something went up, there's always a link on our Twitter. Last thing, check us out on TikTok at Beware the Board and on YouTube Shorts. Hopefully there's new short form up.
He hasn't been doing them.
I haven't been doing it. I'm really bad about it because it's really hard to find good
Remember
content.
when you were like, I'm going to post 2 a week?
Yep. It's hard,
That
man.
lasted no weeks.
Well, it's so hard to find stuff that fits TikTok and YouTube Shorts because YouTube Shorts have to be under a minute. And there's no conversation on the podcast that is less than a minute. So it's really hard to find good starts and good stops without making a really shitty clip. So hopefully something went up. Hopefully that Tucker and Dale clip that I edited will be up by then.
Hopefully.
I think that's it.
All right. Well, see you guys next time.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next time.